Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Flat Earth UK Live. Tonight, I am joined by Jamie, aka Fake Spaceman in Space. How you doing, Jamie?
Yeah, good. How you doing, Nathan? Good to be here.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm good, mate. Very pleased to have you here. I'm hoping to have Amir, aka Insanity is Sanity, on the show this evening. He has had a bereavement, so he did send me an email just before the show to say he may not be able to show, but he was keen to say he may still show up. So hopefully he'll be on the show as well. Obviously, our hearts go out to him at the moment, having lost a relative. So yeah, very sorry to hear that, Amir. Hopefully he will join us. If he doesn't, we've still got a great show lined up for you all. We are going to be discussing all things fake NASA, so fake moon landings, fake Mars landings, fake missions to Pluto, and the most important one of all, fake missions to the planet they call Earth and we call our home. So we're going to be discussing that. We'll also be looking at satellites, or the lack thereof, and stars, planets, what they present us with in the media, what we actually see with our own eyes. Also things like the ISS, Horizon, the obvious ones, Antarctica. I know I chatted with that earlier about Antarctica, or the edge that my dad thought would fall off. So we'll hopefully go through a bit of that. You can probably tell if you're new to the show that we haven't had a live feed before, but on the bottom right-hand corner of your iPads and phones, you may not be able to actually join in with us on those mobile devices. But if you've got a PC, that's the place to say, "Oi! Stop talking about rubbish and politics and whatever it is you're babbling on about. Start talking flat Earth." So if that's where you want to rant at us, trolls, feel free. Tell us what you want us to talk about. We may ignore you. That's not the point. So yeah, go ahead, Jamie, if you can kick us off. I mean, before you start, I was hoping to sort of mainly start with any newbies that might be watching this and have just tuned in, like we did last time, sort of talking about why it is we think we live on a planet, and maybe that's, I don't know, called to talk about moon landings. That's entirely up to you. Jamie, kick us off, mate.
Well, why we think the Earth is a globe?
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
We haven't seen it for a start. We've never seen it, and also they faked the moon missions to give us the picture of what they tell us the shape is.
I mean, that's pretty much what it boils down to, is the fakeness of it all. I mean, they've told us we've got a planet with pictures. I know just before we started going out, you were saying about Bart Sibrel. I mean, tell us about sort of how we've got to the assumption that we're on a globe.
Well, we have no idea. We've just been presented with a picture from them going to the moon. I mean, they went 6 times. Well, actually, they went 9 times. 9 times to the moon. 6 times they actually landed on it. And they decided on the last trip to take the picture of the blue marble, which is the picture we've been presented with our whole lives, but we've never seen it. So how do we know that's what it looks like? And you're basically talking about the whole world, everybody, the whole population.
The blue marble, that was Apollo. Was it Apollo 17?
Apollo 17, yeah.
I mean, because the very first one was the what do you call it? The one that they took from the actual first moon landing out the window.
In the rocket going to the moon, they claimed that they were halfway to the moon, and then they took the picture of the moon, but really what it was just the round window, and then they switched the lights out inside. So if you watch the video, where they claim is space and the Earth in space, that's actually the inside of the rocket, and they just shut the lights off.
It's mad,
it's pretty clever what they did, to be honest.
It was. I mean, the commentary that they gave when it was going out live, this is, I mean, my understanding of this is all from Bart Sibrel's video, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. I'll chuck a link in the playlist when this finishes, so anybody who wants to watch it can have a little look. But on that Bart Sibrel documentary, he essentially explained that he'd been pestering NASA to get footage from them, because he was a reporter on NASA. We won't go through him getting punched in the face, but you know, he was applying for all this footage, and he got sent a reel that claimed, at least on the label, that it was completely unedited. And he sort of matched up the timelines, didn't he, with where they said they were in space and where they actually were when they were taking this shot.
Yeah, they said they were halfway, about 130,000 miles, I think they claimed. They claimed to be.
I mean, the other thing they said was that they've got the camera pressed right up to the window. They were saying,
Yeah.
you know, to get this image, we've got to actually press this camera up against the window. They didn't mention its shape.
So if you imagine they have, I mean, if people need to watch the video, they've got the light switched out, and so it's all black, and then they're presenting that as space, and then the round window they're claiming is the Earth in space, and like you said, they had they're saying that they have the camera pressed up against the window. So the easy way to debunk that is if anything comes into picture, i.e. in front of the Earth, then it has to be in space.
Yeah, there was an arm. Somebody's arm comes into the shot.
Yeah, and then you see a light from the top left corner, and it's like
a diffused light, isn't it? To show
it's like that must be a UFO. It had to be in space, right?
Have you seen the latest? I mean, I actually did a little video log on this because they've in amongst all the garbage pictures, the thousands of pictures, they'd also been releasing for quite a number of years loads of sort of junk footage that they've got, and they'd slipped into one of them the Bart Sibrel video as though it was just out there anyway, sort of thing. Did you see that?
I haven't seen it. Is this recently?
I'll have to double check. I mean, I did a whole video on it on Oakley Cord's channel, and I sort of referenced Bart Sibrel and what he'd done. But my take on it was that it was a proper, you know, official source of video, but from NASA. In other words, them saying that it's normal footage, although almost like suggesting that it had actually gone out, although it was definitely.
The story was that it was mislabeled and it was edited footage, but it was actually unedited footage. But I think Bart Sibrel has said that somebody's obviously deliberately given it to him, given him this tape, right?
I think so. Someone slipped it to him so that he can do the piece on it. You know, when people say, "Well, wouldn't someone at NASA say?" Well, no, they want to keep their job. But yeah, people like Bart Sibrel might just happen to get an unedited tape.
Also, people have tried to claim. Are you getting echo, Nathan, or was that me?
It could be me. I'll turn you down a bit. Try
that. People have tried to claim that you know the whole thing is staged. But the punch you talked about from Buzz Aldrin, I mean, he definitely makes contact with him. And,
it's a full-on punch in the face. He's so outraged, he wants to hurt him.
Yeah, but when you can tell where he tricked them, I honestly believe they thought they were just going to be doing a normal interview with him about the moon landings, and then he just throws in, "Oh, I've got this video. What do you know?" He definitely catches us on off guard. I don't think that's I don't think that's staged at all. I think that's genuine.
No, I mean, I think you're right. There's plenty of times that you've seen, you know, people that they've. What's going on with this? Why is it jumping between us? I don't know. And there's been plenty of times I've heard people say, "Look, Bart Sibrel was pointing out that he was there as a normal reporter. He was there to just talk about the moon landings and did catch them off guard, and that was the entire point." You know, I think he offered Neil Armstrong some huge amount of money, maybe £5,000, just to put his hand on the Bible. And his response to that was, "How do I know it's a real Bible?"
Yeah, I think that was because I don't know if they're all religious, but that was something that people kind of raised their eyebrows, especially in America. That why, if you did it, why wouldn't you just swear on the Bible?
I mean, Mark Sargent made an even more pertinent point, which is, if you're there lying your ass off the whole time, in other words, they've got to have known that they weren't on the moon. You know, that it kind of goes without saying. They know they faked it, and that's undoubtedly why Neil Armstrong wouldn't give any interviews. I mean, I think I've seen 2 in total. You know, the one straight after, and another one where it's all cryptic. I think there was a third I saw, but you know, very, very few interviews, considering the elation you'd feel for being the first man on the moon. You know, it's just mad.
But anyone that thinks that we went to moon is crazy, because especially the amount of times they went as well. They went, you know, that they went 9 times. So Apollo 8, 9, and 10 went to the moon, and then they did like a slingshot around the moon back to Earth, and then Apollo 11 was the first to land on the moon, and then they did it 6 more times, and this was in the space of 4 years. and this is 45 years ago, and nothing since. I mean, I haven't been to the moon in my lifetime.
No. I mean, when I asked NASA on their Facebook feed, you know, what was the score, their response was, we never said we were going to make day trips there. And you think, well, yeah, all the references you can find from it are just media references and science fiction, which they can easily say, well, we didn't say we were going to the moon. But my wife pointed out, she's like, why are they going to Mars? What's the score there? Why aren't they just going back to the moon?
Right. So yeah, exactly. They're testing out. They're testing this capsule to go to Mars, and it's exactly the same capsule as what they used to send men to the moon. So why do they need to test this capsule? It's already been tested at 45 years ago as well. So none of it makes sense.
I think you were saying as well on one of your videos that the technology that's now supplying the space station, the ISS, is like the same technology level that they had when they were doing the moon landings, the Russian rockets.
Yeah, well, that's another thing, you see. The USA can't even get their own astronauts to the fake space station. They're having to rely on you're talking about the Russian Soyuz.
Yeah.
The Russian Soyuz rocket, that's 1960s. That's the same rocket technology, like you say, as the Saturn V rocket that took men to the moon. So none of it makes sense when you really look at it. And for anyone to defend this is just crazy.
I mean,
also, you know,
the more recent stuff. I mean, I don't want to lead you and start talking about subliminals, but what's your take on Pluto?
Pluto? How do you mean? What, having the picture of Pluto the dog on there?
Well, I didn't really want to lead you down any sort of avenues. Just in general, what's your take on missions to Pluto?
How do you mean? I don't understand. How do you mean?
That's exactly it. I don't want to lead you down anything. I just want, if someone said to you, was a total globe head and came along and said, oh, they've just been, I just found out today they've been to Pluto and taken photos. What would be your response to that?
Well, if you go on to the mainstream media, they even said, oh, look, this looks like Pluto the dog. If you Google it, look on Google Images, you'll find articles. So it's not like something people haven't noticed. But the funny, you know, the thing is, the media, they just brush it off as, oh, it's just a funny coincidence, and they all have a good laugh at it, like, oh, look, they've took a picture of Pluto. Oh, it just happens to be a picture of Pluto the dog on there. Where we're like, no, they've done that on purpose, right? It's just another CGI image of some light in the sky that they claim are planets.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was that not Matt Boylan's job? Didn't he do textures and things like that?
Yeah, so he did texture graphics, hyper realistic texture graphics, I think he said.
Yeah.
So it would be so like as if you're not there, but can you just create this planet as if you were there? And you think, well, why do you need people to do that if you were sending spaceships there to take the pictures? Why do you need people? Why do you need a big graphic?
I think it's probably can't compare. I can never say this word.
No, compartmentalize. Yeah,
that's the one. I think even to the degree that, from what I took from a lot of Math Powerland's videos, was that, you know, they weren't saying create a planet. They were saying, here's this texture, and we need it to look a little bit more like this or a little bit more like that. So they keep it so compartmentalized that you can't ever get to a stage where they'll know what you actually are doing.
The lighting and shading and stuff like that. But this is another, you know, this is another thing people will throw at you to say that we live on a globe. Is they'll say, well, there's all these globes, you know, up there in space.
Planets.
Yeah. But how do we know? We only have NASA's words, and the people that supposedly have all these high-powered telescopes telling us that that's what they are.
The discs up in the sky.
Right. Well, that's all I see.
Well, I mean the discs up in the sky thing, I mean, one of the flat Earth questions I got on Facebook was exactly that. You know, well, if the Earth's flat, does that mean that all the planets are flat as well?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you answer that?
Did you see the video? Someone just posted a video where they filmed, was it Venus or Jupiter? I think it might, and it was all like,
an angel.
Yeah, well, it just didn't look like a planet, like they say. Have you seen that?
Maybe in that exact one, I saw one that someone put up that was a star, and it looked like I think it was Wakey Wakey or Matrix Decode that sent it to me or highlighted it on Facebook. But it looked just like an angel when they shot in on it. I mean, I'm sure you could pick it to pieces and say it's just the way it's working, but that's the one I saw.
I filmed a star. I mean, I've got a video on my channel. I filmed a star. Anyone can do it with a. You don't need. I've only got a basic camera. It's not a high end or anything, and you can just sit there on a tripod with a, you know, fairly decent. Doesn't have to be that decent zoom camera. Just zoom in on a star and film it, and ask yourself: are they really trillions and trillions of light years away?
Well, Eric Dubay did one as well, where he focuses on something and says it looks like a lemon, and you think, yeah, I've seen it with my telescope. They do look like all sorts of crazy different shapes. And
yeah, that was when I was talking.
Make it look like all sorts in your mind.
Right, but then, so all we have to go on is this one space agency that presents us with these pictures, telling us that they're planets and they're out there. And how do we know? We've got no idea. And I mean, also where we're standing. They've presented us with this picture, which, you know, everyone's debunked the blue marble and any video they've shown us of Earth. So we have, you know, that's what it comes down to. We have not seen planet Earth ourselves, and we know that the whole space program is completely fake. It's complete fraud. And they're presenting us with the images. They're telling us what space is. They've invented space and told us what it is. Well, how do we know? And they've told us where we are. This is why people question it, right?
Yeah, the theories get crazier and crazier as well. You know, you go from being on a globe to then you've got string theory, parallel universes, time travel.
No, that's theoretical
Nonsense.
Yeah, it's theoretical nonsense.
I don't know if I've seen any on your channel about CERN.
Yeah, I've made comments to people that, I mean, Brian Cox works there, so I can't believe CERN is anything. They've had colliders for years. They've had colliders for 50 odd years, and I did a video on Einstein, special relativity, and then as I was doing that video, I then realised from that's apparently what these particle accelerators are for, to try and prove his special relativity theory or something like that. Anyway, but I don't believe those things.
Have you seen the pictures that come out of CERN?
Well, are they anything like the pictures from the Hubble telescope? I don't know.
They're worse.
They're worse, are they?
It reminds me, get when people send you pictures of satellites in space and they're like dots and streaks, just look like not even as good as CGI. It's just when I first looked into satellites, I just googled satellites and I was like, hang on a second, there's just like pages and pages of cartoons of satellites. It's like, even on NASA's website, on their own website. So, and there's no pictures. Have you seen a picture of one satellite in space? You sent me a link to the only satellite. I think the word you used when you sent it me was, he's a bit dodgy.
The French guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I
mean, his articles just look a little bit unpolished and.
Yeah, but out of the whole world, there's one satellite under this dude, and then he doesn't even find any. Then he's looking for spy satellites or something, isn't
he? I love it. I mean, didn't you do your most recent video was about satellites, wasn't it? Do you want to talk us through that?
The one I've just posted where I was eating my dinner.
Yeah, you're eating a bowl of cereal or something.
Yeah, but it just I was just about to sit. Yeah, I was just about to sit down. There's a bit of a delay.
Yeah, don't worry about it, mate. We just have to ignore these things. They work themselves out.
Yeah, I was just sitting down to eat dinner, and that came on the radio. So I rushed over to where my laptop was, got the radio show up on the internet, and just recorded it. If anyone hasn't seen it, just go and check it out. They just basically tell you that satellites don't exist. They don't cover the Atlantic. They don't cover the poles. and they're going to do something about it. I think it was it something to do with the MH17 plane that went missing?
Right.
Yeah, and then
I mean,
they're basically saying that they just basically tell you it's all ground based. Nathan, I don't know.
I wasn't necessarily going to run into this topic, but we touched on it just beforehand about the Google, what's it called? I've forgotten what they call them, the balloons.
Oh, Google balloons.
You highlighted this to me. Now media, it's mainly in the American media.
What's that?
The balloon things that they're sending up to give everyone,
no, I don't.
Wi-Fi or whatever it is they're saying, 4G.
They're probably not. It's probably just another scam. I mean, that video I put up.
They're even sending the balloons?
Probably not. That video, the one I just put up, that if you listen to what they say that they're going to start sending some extra GPS satellites up over the next few years. And you think, well, hang on, how long have we had GPS global positioning satellites? I thought we already had all that. Then they tell you that planes don't use GPS, that it's not GPS, it's ground-based or radar. Pardon?
The phones, when we got the phone towers, I remember buying when I was first a rep, I got my first GPS. It was probably like 2005, 2006, I forget what. And they're about 400 quid for a cheap, what would now be the bottom of the range sat nav. And, that was the one I took on a plane. But yeah, they went up at the same time the phone technology suddenly stepped up its game and you could get proper decent internet and all that on your phone. Then we had GPS at pretty much exactly the same time. And it was just GPS towers. I mean, I get corrected by the trolls all the time when I call them GPS towers. And they're like, there is no such thing as GPS towers. It's like, well, yeah, there is. That's exactly what's giving us all of our GPS signals. And that's what's giving us, everything that works on our phone all goes to the same place. It's farcical to think that some of it's bouncing off a satellite in the sky and half of it's going to some antenna.
Yeah, I'm not sure about even bouncing signals off the ionosphere or the upper atmosphere. I'm not even sure about, because didn't you say you took GPS on a plane and it stopped working, right?
Well, I took it on and turned it on at the beginning of the flight, sort of snuck it under the radar, if you will, of the stewardesses and got it all working. So it had to lock on all of its satellites and it gave me the speed as we taxied and took off. And then halfway through the climb, it just cut off. It just stopped working. I don't mean it turned off, lost power. I mean, no longer gave any signal of where we were. I mean, my idea was to just sort of look at the maps on the back of the seat or on the projection screen that they give you for the journey and compare what I had. Not because I was doing anything flat Earth. I'm just intrigued and just, it was a new toy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that was pretty much. I mean, if you're going up there towards the satellites, why would it stop working? Doesn't make sense.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, I think that'd be the first thing. I think we've got. Is she here? Robin Poe's in the chat somewhere. I mean, I think she's actually bounced stuff off the. I don't want to say the word dome, but off the ionosphere when she was doing, radio transmissions. So maybe she'll pipe up in the feed and say, we do bounce stuff off or we don't bounce stuff off or what the score is.
They
stuff off the ionosphere.
Yeah, but when you look into communications, they would send radio waves across the Atlantic, long, like 1940s. Before that, I think 1920s or something. I think it's a French guy. They sent radio signals across from Europe to America, I think it was, or the other way around. But that wasn't being bounced off the ionosphere.
No, I don't dispute it. I mean, again, I'm sure it was Robin Poe when she was on Flat Earth and the Hot Potatoes was talking about, she'd caught. I hope I haven't confused everything that she said, but she was saying she'd caught a receiver tower 120 miles away and got a really, really cracking signal from up high.
I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's a lady who was a radio operator, and she was on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, talking about what she'd done. And the main thing that she'd done again. Yeah, it's well worth a watch. I mean, she's giving really good proof, similar sort of proof to the sort of proof Mark Sargent's got going on when he's got people that are sending narrowband radar, and they call it painting targets, but basically if you imagine they've got two different types of radar, one that scans in a very sort of wide band, and when it picks up something and they have to actually target it to guide the missiles in, they paint it with this, paint it meaning, you know, put something on it, which is this narrowband radar, and they have to hold that ship or whatever it is they're targeting with this narrowband radar, and I think they said it was something like 2 inches, you know, very, very tight field. But you could you know, compare it to something like a laser.
Yes.
You know, it needs direct line of sight. So that's go on.
No, I was just reading the chat. Someone's had brought up undersea cables. That was the other thing that was a dead giveaway. When you check that, the entire Earth is connected by deep sea cables, which I was shocked at first. I didn't even realise that. And then if you think about, if you think about, you talk to somebody from here in America or wherever via internet, and that's all happening literally, you know, in a split second. All 3 cables, all that distance.
Yeah, Wi-Fi gives you a massive delay.
Wi-Fi.
I lost your sound for a second there. Do you want to try that? Say again.
Which bit? There's a delay and an echo there. There's an echo and a delay now.
Yeah.
Somebody said in this
feed.
Somebody said in this chat. Somebody said in the
best way to do is ignore your own picture.
No, somebody said in the chat about you putting headphones on or something.
Yeah, I might try that. You carry on chatting away, and I'll put some headphones on.
Yeah, so the whole world is connected by deep sea cables, and that's also how phones work as well. So you've got all the cell towers; they're all connected by underground cables as well. So you don't actually So when you think about it, you don't actually need to send signals that far, okay, from dishes or antennas and stuff, because they're all connected. So basically you would phone from your mobile, it would go to the nearest tower, and then it would just go by cables wherever
GPS tower.
Yeah, but then they're all connected by underground cables as well. So then that just goes to wherever you're calling, so it can be anywhere, and then that'll go to the nearest tower there. So you don't need to actually send signals that far through the atmosphere.
Right.
Is that any better? No, still a delay.
That's better. I've turned off. Yeah, the delay's there. I mean, if we just talk and just ignore our own faces, there's a big lip sync. You know, for anybody watching, there's probably a massive lip sync delay. But if you just ignore your own face and just chat like we're on the phone, that's probably the only way to overcome it. Otherwise, we'll have loads of long pauses. And just
no. Well, it's annoying because it's annoying because you start talking over each other as well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I did it on the very first practice, and we were like, surely it won't be like a two-way radio. But when you watch, you know, people who are dab-handed it, like Patricia Stick, she just knows that you've got to kind of let one person talk and then not let the other person talk. But it's just something you get used to, I think.
Yeah, cool. So, what else did you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to go on to the ISS. I mean, I know last time when I brought up the Black Knight, you were like, no, definitely not. I mean, I found a little video of what they claim to be NASA. Yeah.
Did we talk about that last time?
Yeah, I mean, well, I brought it up because I'd seen
go on,
journalism's feed that someone was. I mean, it was just that. I mean, I only looked at it before the show, see if I could find a little video of it. I mean, I found one. I've never used this app. I'll play it out if you like. But I think it is Sanity's channel that he actually put.
Well, there's a video.
I mean, I haven't put it on. It's a NASA video of them filming what they claim to be the Black Knight from the ISS. But in Jeronism's feed, or somebody had been commenting on his live feed, that the theory goes that the ISS actually is the Black Knight. You know, it's just something that's been up there flying around like a planet or a star or whatever else goes up in our sky. I know you were like, nah, it's definitely a drone.
What, the ISS or the Black? Well, the Black Knight, that's supposed to be some ancient relic satellite, isn't it? Is that what that's supposed to be?
I think that's what they're intimating. I think that's what they're kind of trying to suggest, that it's something that's been up there for a long time. Like if you imagine like a comet that comes and goes and is always, you know.
Yeah, I get you now. Yeah,
Does that make sense?
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. But what I would say to that is, how long's the ISS been supposedly up there? 15, 17 years. So before the ISS.
Yeah, well, no.
What?
I mean, well, I was going to say, if you think about it from the point of view that nobody's ever looking, I mean, you get people
hang on
all the time.
Let me just get this straight though. So people are saying.
Go on.
Yeah, people say what? So people are saying that the ISS is actually some kind of like natural phenomena that is already up there. And so what? They said, oh, let's pretend that's a space station. So I would say to that, well, okay, so before the space station, was it up there? No, that's right. Okay,
that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. There's one argument that says, well, maybe it was and they just weren't looking. And maybe the other argument that you're saying is no, there was nothing there.
What did I say last time? I'll say the same again.
You said, I think you went, no.
I'm sober this time and I'm saying the same thing. No.
Oh, were you drunk last time? You needed the Dutch courage last time to be on the show.
I was a bit, yeah.
We're only talking about the Earth being flat.
I was
We're not talking about global warming or anything.
No, that Black Knight.
Yeah, I mean...
Go on.
It's what?
If you got these videos
lined up, I mean, I was going to move on. I mean,
go on then.
Well, I was going to ask you the same thing. I mean, I know you were talking beforehand about the horizon. I mean, you wanted to make a key point about that.
No.
I mean,
no. I want to stick with this Black Knight now and the ISS because I'm asking.
I know nothing about it. I mean,
okay. I'm just asking the question. I know what you're talking about because I saw a video or heard some people talking about it. They're trying to say it's some sort of natural, like a ball of plasma that just flies around the Earth. So what I'm saying is, what did they say?
That's the new me, but yeah.
They knew, right? So NASA were like, hey, let's pretend that ball of plasma that's been flying around the Earth that nobody's noticed. We'll just pretend that's a space station. Is that what people are saying?
I think that's the general idea they're putting out there. I don't want to sort of promote this.
I know. I've seen it.
I'm just trying to get your take on it.
Yeah. I heard it, and yeah. That's why I'm asking the question. Though I'm asking the question. The space station's only supposed to be been up there for 17 years. So what's this natural orb or plasma ball or whatever it's supposed to be? It's always been up there. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that's all. When people film it, that's all it looks like. I agree with that. That's all it looks like when people film it. It doesn't look like a space.
That's what it looks like when I've seen the videos. I've never seen it myself with my naked eyes. I don't know about you. Have you ever actually seen it?
I don't think it passes where we are. You're a bit further north than me, aren't you? I don't think it passes near us to be able to see it. You'd have to.
Where are you?
Norfolk, on the east coast.
South of you.
Just below the wall. Just below. I know you're in Birmingham, aren't you? No, where are you?
No, I'm further south than that. Warwick.
In the middle, across in the middle. Well, I'm just below the wash.
Between Birmingham and London.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right, yeah. No, I think if you'd need to be in, you'd have to be down south, like Cornwall. You'd have to be down south of the country. I don't think it. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It doesn't come all the way, like even halfway. So no, we would never see it.
Right. No,
But
that's fair
yeah,
enough. I mean, it's one of them. I've never seen it myself. It's
no,
an interesting theory.
yeah, I don't know where that came from, but yeah, it's an interesting theory, I suppose. But I mean, I think NASA just put something
let's
up there.
move on. Yeah, that's what you said last time. I mean, if you think it's a drone, and you even said that you've seen people that have flown drones, and they look like a similar sort of thing when they're all lit. I saw one actually, a bonfire display a couple of years back, and once it gets fairly high up, it does look. I thought at the time it looked like a UFO, but I know what you're saying. You know, the ISS to a certain extent is just you.
Yeah, and
what was the thing you had on the horizon? And
there is no. I was just going to say quickly. There are videos on YouTube of people who claim that they get pictures of it in a satellite, in a telescope, and then it's like they show all the detail of the space station. They're fake. Those videos are fake. Any other normal video, it's just like a sort of blob of light.
Yeah, that's what I've seen on the videos. I mean, the ISS Live is obviously a complete farce. It's just a stage. It's not even, if you wanted to call it that, because number one, you said it loads of times, it's not a constant feed from some camera. That's rubbish. You know, you get 10, 15 minutes at best. You get a load of sea footage at best. You never see a night view. You know, when they released they always seem to call them epic, but when they release this epic footage that, again, Insanity highlights, you know, it looks really glorious. It looks fantastic. But that's exactly it. It is kind of fantastical.
It's there, and it does its purpose, which is, if you say the space station is fake, it doesn't exist, or, you know, what's up there isn't a space station. How many? I mean, I've had so many people. They'll go away and they'll say, "Oh, what's this then? This is the live feed, the live stream," and that's it. That's enough to convince people that it's there. But if you actually spend time watching it, you realise that it's not like a continuous live stream like you would expect. And it's all it is.
No, not at all. You know,
it's always just the camera pointing at like a Earth projection or CGI, however they do it. There's do you remember that show with I can't remember his name now, where they took some people and pretended to put them on the a shuttle into space, like a reality show.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Johnny Vaughan. Oh God, we must remember his name. Oh, that was superb.
Yeah, but the example from that is you had the shuttle, and then at the beginning when he's talking about it, what they're going to do, you have the projection of the Earth on the wall, and that was just a cheap, you know, a screen with, and it had the moving Earth, so it's not that difficult to do. Yeah. It's not difficult.
Yeah, when they did the actual show, when they had them in the simulator, it was either one or two IMAX projectors that they actually used. They were fantastic projectors that they used to dupe them. And that, to be honest, that was the best bit of the show. I saw it go out.
Yeah, but I'm saying that shows you that I'm saying that shows you that it's not hard to see what they're doing. It's just a CGI or, you know, screen projection, whatever, with a model. You know, that's all it is. In fact, I'm going to do a video. I have been meaning to do a video on special effects, just to show people, you know, how easy it is. What, you know, the things they can do. I mean, you can see stuff from like.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody was like, who was it? Somebody wasn't sure about nuclear bombs being a hoax, right? I don't want to go off topic too much, but they were like, oh well, how could they? Well, they were like, how could they fake it? How, you know, they didn't have the technology back then. I'm sorry, you can go and find special effects being used from like 1920s. Like blue screen was being used in the 1940s. Yeah, rear screen projection. This stuff is not needed. this stuff's not new technology. This is like way back, like beginning of the 20th century.
It's much better.
And there's some good stuff. A good film to watch is Destination Mean. Have you seen that?
No. You're switching me on to all these movies. I've
been check that.
Tuning into your channel and seeing this stuff.
That's from 1940. It's called Destination Mean. But check it out and look at the special effects in it. I mean,
Is it on YouTube? Because if it is, I do playlist and add it to the channel. So
no, it's a movie. It's a movie. You have to go and find it live stream on the internet. But yeah, the special effects and stuff they've been doing for long time. So what they can do now isn't difficult. It's not even that good, really, is it? The stuff in the movies is better than what their master does.
No. Well, it was just a movie. It's just not aged well. I mean, it's always Mark Sargent's go-to. It just doesn't look good these days. And when they reused the footage, I think they were just trying to get one good shot, like of that launch. And when they used old launch footage or the previous footage, the one where they got the blue marble shot, the 17 one, and they told us that the stuff had broken or it was parked in the wrong place or whatever it is they used as an excuse for not getting a good shot. I think they were just old tests or old special effects shots that didn't get used, and they just went, well, maybe people won't be watching this particular moon mission. It doesn't matter how good the footage is of the takeoff, but when we're getting blue marble, we want the best of Kubrick's work.
Right. I like when they have the rocket going up and it's got like the USA. It's really close up, like the real close up shot of the rocket like launching, and then it has the USA. It's just so fake. How people? What amazes me though is how did nobody back then just ask after like 5 missions why they hadn't filmed the Earth from the moon? Just seems
nobody's asking, and the same applies to the more recent stuff when none of it's pointing up, it's all pointing back. It's all pointing. Nobody is actually filming the rockets escaping from our atmosphere. They're always just filming the tail end of the rocket and filming Earth and reinforcing the curve and showing you that.
Where is the forward-facing camera? Why don't they show us? And then they always flick to cartoon. Yeah, the rocket
really
launch.
Dramatic piece of the rocket.
Yeah, they launch rockets or whatever they're launching, fireworks, and then you see them. They start to arc. They actually look like they're going down, don't they? And then after a certain time, they just switch to cartoon. So we never see. I want to see the whole thing filmed in one go. The rocket wherever they claim it goes. This is the game.
I mean, all they're trying to do is show us that we've got a curve, show us that there's a planet. So there's a cinematography element of it, and it's not of importance to the people making material. It's reinforcing the globe, reinforcing the curvature, showing us that curve from tail end of that rocket is all they really want to do with that piece of propaganda. That's its main purpose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's they claim they have to. They can't even go fast enough to escape Earth's velocity. They claim they have to go 24,000 miles, and that's why they claim that they go sideways. It doesn't make any sense, does it?
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, when I first did a little video on how fake I thought the takeoff from 17 was, someone was sort of dicing it up. One of the trolls was dicing it up with me, saying, they could transmit and there was a 2-second delay. And I put into the comments that there was an 8-second delay. And again, I think it was again that Robin Poe was talking about calculating out the actual delay that you should have between, based on the delay that you get from what they say we get transmitting to and from satellites, and they worked it out to about 8 seconds that there should have been delay in total for the broadcasts. And then you've got them on the phone to the president, having a perfectly happy conversation from the moon.
Yeah, and there's like not even a 2-second delay, is it? Did you see the one where I put the?
I've seen stuff with no delay.
Yeah. Did you see the video where I put the Apollo 11 next to the Capricorn 1 movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a mirror image, basically, isn't it? That movie absolutely explains how they could, fake the moon landing, basically. So,
well, you've got it's predictive programming, and people think there's coincidence, don't they? When you've got exactly the same thing happen that's in the media, and people go back and say, "Well, look, here it is. It was that people dice it down to it being not predictive programming, but like it's predicted the future, and it's farcical. It's like, no, it's no coincidence that it's exactly the same as the actual moon landings, because they want the idea to be exactly as it's going to be, rooted in your mind before you've ever even seen it.
Yeah. So in 1968, you had Space Odyssey 2001, which was Stanley Kubrick. 1967. You had The Trip to the Moon, which, funnily enough, by Jules Verne.
Rocket to the Moon.
Well, funnily enough, I just watched it.
To the Moon, or Trip to the Moon.
I just watched it, Nathan. It's on BBC iPlayer at the moment. In the film section. So I just watched it the other day, and I didn't realise that came out. That came out in 1967. So again, you've got another. Sending the story, the book, the sending the, shooting the cannon rocket to the moon. Yeah, you know the one I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I stuck the movie that was on YouTube. There's the full-length movie on. I stuck it on in the background the other night after you'd highlighted it to me.
Which one?
It's on YouTube. It's called Rocket to the Moon by Jules Verne. 1967 one.
Yeah, that might be the one where they're dragging the rocket along the road with a tractor. That one.
I think so. Like I said, I just made it in the background while I was doing other things, so I dipped into it.
Right, so that was 1967, and then you had Space Odyssey 2001 in 68. So there's two predictive films about going to the moon in the 2 years leading up to going to the moon. I mean, it's not coincidence, put it that way.
Have you seen A Clockwork Orange?
Yeah. Is that quite the weird one? I think I've seen it. That's Kubrick as well?
Yeah, well, the only reason I bring it up is because there's an opening sequence, not opening sequence, but it's maybe 5 minutes into the movie where there's a fight between these two gangs, and the one gang's about to rape a young girl, so they step in as good guys, if you like, and they have a massive fight. But the scene is set, and it looks just like the moon surface with all the sort of just the way the shadows are cast, and it's like almost got a slight air of smoke in the scene, to make the light slightly more diffused. It's just like how the moon landing was shot in that opening fight scene of A Clockwork Orange. It's well worth having a look. If you just type in, I think it's called, if you just typed into Google fight scene Clockwork Orange, you'd see it straight away. But as soon as you see it, you go, hang on, I've seen this before. I've seen the way this is set before, and it's just exactly the same as 1969.
Right. So would one of the reasons that they couldn't do a moon landing again is because they would have to replicate and have it exactly the same as the footage before?
Yeah, it'd have to look terrible. You've got gravity looking really great and shiny and polished, and then you'd have to make it look garbage, with like black backdrops so you can't see no stars.
Right, because we've got like Super HD and stuff, and then they'd have to film it like off. You can only film it off the screen again, off the wall or whatever they did. Yeah, they couldn't go back, could they? They couldn't do it. That's why they've got. That's why they've got to go.
The point, isn't it? That it's all third generation. It's so terrible because they actually, let me get this straight. I hope I've got my technicalities right. I'm sure I'll get trolled to all hell if I get this wrong. But they had the footage playing out to a TV screen. Yeah. This is all from Bart Sabrell. And the TV screen was filmed by a camera and that produced a projected image which the TV stations could then film. So it's like fourth generation. That's why when you see it, it's so grainy and crap. And even every single camera they used was garbage.
Yeah, and that's why you have like the astronauts are like invisible as they move across the screen. They're like see-through, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such an old generation.
Yeah, so imagine now we've got like all Super HD cameras and stuff. They wouldn't be able to get it the same, would they? Without it would be too obvious.
Well, I think it's just continuity. They couldn't keep the continuity if they did a nice 4K, you know, really high resolution. You've just got no hope. It would just end up totally exposing how poor the last one was. I mean, when you see the models coming towards each other, you know, Red Dwarf have got the models better than the NASA models from '69 footage. They're just awful.
Right. Yeah. So, which is why they're pushing the Mars mission, which is a joke. They're going to go to Mars and grow potatoes.
What's your take on this? Finding water for fourth time. What's your take on that?
Well, they've been doing that since 1975. They've been putting rovers on Mars since 1975. This has been the same story. They've always talked about water being there. So that's nothing new.
I mean, talking of water, I'm going to change the subject because we've probably gone through sort of all of this, the sort of NASA fakery, done it to death. And it was highlighted to me earlier. This is a real ham-handed segue, isn't it? My dad was on the phone to me talking flat Earth, and you know, in his concerned fatherly way, and making sure I got my sources straight, and you know, almost testing my knowledge on Galileo and Copernicus and all this sort of stuff. But as he left the conversation, he was like, "Oh, I'm getting a bit tired of this now. I'm going to leave you to it." I could hear him in the background while I was on the phone to my mother saying, "Oh, you know, make sure they don't fall off the edge." And I heard it in the background. I was like, "Mom, make sure you tell Dad about Antarctica. You know, explain to him that we've got this great big ring, maybe 70, 80,000 miles in circumference, all the way around us. You know, forget the equator figures. You know, 24 is it 1,000 miles? Forget all that. We've got an enormous ring of ice around us." I know before we started, you said you wanted to touch on Antarctica. There you go. There's my segue. As good as I can do it.
Well, I can do. I mean, I've got some stuff lined up. If you want me to share screen, I can just go. I was just going to go over like the horizon and stuff, because people keep sending me stuff about boats going over the horizon.
Definitely, by all means.
See if I can set it up. But yeah, when people
it's one of those. I think it's really important.
When people say to me, "Well, have you seen the edge? Have you got a photo?" It's like, "Well, have you seen the Earth?" And we haven't seen it, have we? So
yeah, back to the old math power land thing. So yeah, it's a situation where people think they know exactly what Earth is. They think they know where they live, and once you rob them of all those answers, they're like, "Well, what's your excuse for this? Where's your answer for the edge? Where's your answer for satellites? Where's your answer for all these different things?" Is it a video that you want to play out? Should I just stick your
No,
I
was just,
do you want to play it? Or?
No, I was just going to go through the horizon. Why there's no curve? Is my screen sharing?
Okay, well, I think so. I've got it on your camera and your stuff's up, so hopefully we've got a screen share.
Can you see?
Someone will tell me if it's not sharing.
Is it sharing?
I can certainly see it saying 11 a.m.
Oh yeah, well, this is one of the videos that people go to trying to prove that boats disappear hull first over the horizon. So I'm just going to play through this video, and then I'll just play this video.
Pretty ship.
Yeah. But what you'll see, What you'll see is the water line changes as they go through the video. You'll see it gets higher.
About a third of the way up the page at the moment.
Can you see how high
So
it's
they're
on now?
lowering their angle.
Right. So
The camera
basically,
angle itself is actually being lowered.
I mean, this is so easy to debunk, but I just quickly did it earlier. I took two screenshots. Okay, these are exactly the same. It's the screen. You see, I've level lined up the bottom here. Okay, so you can see it's exactly the same. Can you see the Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference in the water height here? How they've changed the level of the camera when you put them side by side. Can you see that?
Might be a good time to put my perspective and just say, you know, best channel to go to is My Perspective channel, because he basically lays this out in nice, beautifully laid out videos, aren't they? I mean, I wish I could edit videos like My Perspective does.
Yeah, he does all the 3D stuff. The 3D.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, so that basically, you know, that video, as far as I'm concerned, is just a disingenuous video. So
If you leave that up a second, the other thing that if we were on a ball, if we were on a spherical planet, wouldn't the top edge of that boat should be leaning away from us as it goes over the edge? So if that literally is over, we're on a ball, the top half of the boat would be pointing towards, you know, pointing further away from you. Do you know what I mean by that? Can you put that in better words than I can?
Yeah, well, that's quite a steep.
In the same way, buildings don't lean over.
Right. Well, let me just show you. If I just show people, I've got a 3D animation. I've had this in a video before. But if you wherever you look at eye level, okay. Can you see this, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's all being shared and everyone else can see it. I'm just listening and taking in the beauty of this animation.
Well, this is just a simple, quick animation, but this is basically a 3D program. But this is a flat plane, and so what I'm just trying to show people here is you've got the horizon here, okay? You've always got the horizon at eye level, okay? Even though this is completely flat. And then if you're standing here and you've got these boats here, okay? I know these are just basic crude drawings, but these are basically
no, it's wicked, mate. This is perfect. This is what you need.
Right, so you've got this boat here, and then you've got this boat here, and you've got this boat here. But what I want people can't seem to get their head around. Okay, this 3D program is a flat plane. Okay, it's flat. Okay, but when you look at eye level, you always have the horizon at eye level. Okay, and so everything looks as if it's going up, and then you have the same with the sky as well. But if you turn this round. If I turn this around so we look side on,
let me know when I can interject, because I got a little point again that came up from the phone conversation with my dad earlier. So just let me know if I can pop that.
Go on then.
Well, he was saying about, you know, do you really know what you know, sort of thing. And I had to say to him, look, when I was a rep and out on planes, everyone else in the plane was tuned into the movie, falling asleep, asking for more booze, while I was sneaking to the back of the plane, trying to sneak photos out of the biggest window, you know, when the stewardesses weren't looking or the stewards weren't looking. And that was kind of what I was doing. I remember, I'm sure I said this to you in one of the phone chats we had, that I can remember staring out over a large expanse of land over, I think it was Russia, and just looking for miles and going, man, why can't I see any curve? You know, literally, again, I've got to stress this. This isn't when I was a flat earther. I was just thinking, man, in a better way to put it would be like thinking, I wish I could go higher. I wish I could see that curve. And I think the James May stuff had just come out, you know, when I was doing those sorts of trips, and he'd been up in the high altitude plane and shown us curve. And I was like, you know, so it was quite conscious in my mind when I was staring out the back of this plane. Plane. No, you carry on, mate.
I watched a video a little while ago, and some guy started talking about Concorde, and I was like, oh, he wasn't talking about. I don't think he was talking about flat Earth. Anyway, I sent him a message, and I just said, oh, so what did you see when you were in Concord? And he messaged back and said, well, this was a long time ago, like in 1990s, whatever. But he said he could definitely see a lot further, but he never saw a curve.
Yeah, my dad dropped in that propaganda because when I was preparing questions for the last time you were on, he said, you know, ask your fake spaceman friend what his reaction would be when the BBC did a piece with the stewardess, and she's just talking about, you know, the potential revival for Concorde. But in the interview, she was like, "Oh yeah, and we were, I think it was 75,000 feet or wherever his Concorde flies at, and you could see the curve of the Earth, and it was all very beautiful, and we would help the customers." In other words, it just got slipped into the conversation. But she was, she was the one that gets used and makes it onto TV because she's there as propaganda. She doesn't know it. She's not in on this. And yeah, most people, when they hear people pushing the globe line when they've woken up to it, assume that that person's in on it. It's like, well, the stewardess in this instance isn't in on it. She just thinks she can see the curve.
Yeah, you won't. If you see a curve, you're on a cylinder. You can't see a curve because you're supposed to be on a ball that's even on all sides. And so if you see a curve like
it dropped from every angle. It would drop from each angle. Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, but just getting back to this, I just wanted to show that you see these ships these are all copy and pasted. They're all the same size. I'm just trying to get people to understand the perspectives and to try and explain why we think we see ships disappearing over the horizon. Okay, so you see these ships are the same size.
You do a fantastic job. It's a wicked model, actually. You know, I wasn't being sarcastic when I said it's beautiful. It is.
No, it's only a basic thing. But if we go, so now can you see? Right? Look at the perspective. Look at the size of this boat here, to this one here, to this one here. But I just showed you from the side view that they're all the same size. Okay, and you need to realise that you've got this horizon line here. Okay, so it looks as though things are going up. And so obviously when they get to the vanishing point, this is the vanishing point where we cannot see past. Okay, we cannot see past there. So when things get to that vanishing point, you think, oh, it's going over a curve. Okay, but in reality,
like the sun.
Right, but in reality, they're just going along. Look, they're going along flat. Look, they're going along flat. Okay, but because of the way we see it from this view, okay, it looks as if they're going up, and then obviously when they get to the vanishing point and then they start to disappear, it looks like they're going over a curve and then going back to as if they were here, but they're always on a flat. They're always on a flat level. Hang on a second.
Can you go back to that vantage that they're all the same distance?
What, where they're all the same size?
Scroll it back.
Yeah. These are all.
Had like Eureka.
They're all the same size.
Where he basically pointed out that exactly when you're at a high vantage point from the side, you might be disappearing from that person's perspective over the horizon, but from the view you've got it on now, they're always the same unless they're going into this person's distance.
Right. Well, so you see the horizon line there again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You see the horizon line. Well, so if you go up in there, look. You go up in there, look what happens. When you go up high, look
from the height, it doesn't matter what that guy.
Look, but this is flat.
Leave it there for a second. So if you put it back up in the air a second, so you've got your little man who's on the right by your blue line.
Your horizon line's always rising.
Yeah.
You want me to leave it like that?
Yeah, I was just going to say from the boat video. The boat video is this little man. You know, the guy who's got a blue line next to him on the right hand side. So while he's filming that video you started off with, he's filming the boat according to that video. It's proof of the ball Earth and it's going over the edge.
Yeah.
The person watching that same guy filming from that vantage point, the boat never changes in size. It stays exactly the same because it's going in that direction.
That's why I always try to explain to people when you're doing this. I keep saying, look, go and put a camera at 90 degrees, and I guarantee there's no curve there. You can't have, this is the thing, right? You can't have curve one way and not the other. Yeah? You can't have curve that. This is another thing. No. If you've got, I don't know.
That's a proof. It's proof that we're not on a ball.
Yeah, it's in the chat is I forget his name. Good for all, good all.
All right.
If you go and watch his videos, he stretches a wire like from tree to tree, and it's completely level, and he levels it with the horizon. I think he's in Canada, and he films across the lake to, I think it's like Toronto, okay, and he shows Toronto's like 25, 30 miles away on the horizon, but they are the horizon line, because it always draws up like this. You can never see the bottom of the buildings, and so people think that that's the curvature, and so, but I'm telling you, people, go and put a camera, yeah, at 90 degrees and film this way, and then show me the curvature that way. Okay, people don't understand that.
It's a good illustration. I mean,
and also, if you have curvature this way, then where's the curvature that way? You can't have it both. You can't have curvature just one way. If it, hang on a second, I just want to show you something else, because I've got another thing here to just illustrate it again.
Wicked.
I just want to show you with these houses. I've got some actual photographs as well, just to prove. I don't want people to go, oh, this is just cartoons. I've got photographs. I'm just showing you this to show you what happened. Right. So you've got this. You're looking at this house here, okay? All right. And you've got these chimneys on these roofs, right? And so I've got it lined up with the horizon, right? And so you see these chimneys at the front. Okay, can you see the chimneys at the back? These two here.
Yep.
Yeah, how they look lower? They look lower and smaller, yeah? You can see there's a height difference. They look lower. And they look, yeah?
Exactly.
Right, so if I just spin this round, hang on. These houses are, again, exactly the same. They're copy and pasted. Right, but these chimneys are on the same level. They're on the same level. They're level with each other. They're exactly the same height. They're the same, exactly the same. But see, when you look from this view, look what happens. Okay, and this is what's happening when people think when people think they're seeing boats going over the curvature. So imagine this roof is the sea, and then these things. Oh well, look, the boat's going over the curvature, and they're getting, because you've got two things going on here. You've got things getting smaller, yeah, as they go away from you. Okay, that perspective, and then they look as if they're going lower to over the curve. But they're not. They're on the same level all the time. They're always the same. I hope people can see. I hope
you made this model? Is it your model?
Yeah, I made this. Didn't take very long. It's only a basic one.
Mate, I'm in awe of things like that. That's awesome. Yeah, it's simple stuff that explains it in such an elegant way. I love that. That's awesome.
But people don't understand that perspective. And you have to understand, you've got the sky being pulled down like that. You've got the floor being pulled up like that to your eye level. Okay, but if we look at some actual pictures, I've got some pictures there somewhere. This is from. Do you know Cromer? Have you heard of Cromer on the East Coast? It's about 40 miles from where I live. Right. Okay. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
This is the pier.
Pretty.
Okay. Now, can you see the horizon line there? Yeah, you see the horizon line, right? And we see the pier getting smaller and smaller as it goes out. So when we see boats, just like I just showed you in that 3D animation, we see boats that get to this horizon line here and then disappear. We're thinking, oh, they're going over curvature. Well, so what if we look at a picture of this from side on? The arrows, hang on.
So yeah, at the moment it's all getting nice and small into the distance.
Right, this is the same pier, but from the side. It's completely flat. Okay? Can you see that?
I love it. I mean, this has been boiled down again by Mark Sargent. He was talking about, he was interviewing a guy who was a surveyor, and he was essentially pointing out that everything that they do is based on the world being a flat plane. Nothing they do is based on curvature. Even some of their instruments have got technically a curvature button on them, if you want to boil it down as simplistically as that. But they don't use it. You know, every time a building buffs up to another building, they work perfectly.
I read I've got a clip of a guy, his radio show that I put on my channel, and I went and had a look at that website, and it actually says on there, oh yeah, when they measure curvature, they do it at night time. Which made no sense whatsoever. What? It says they
measure curve at night.
Yeah, under the cover of darkness with lamps. But then in the day, but in normal times they just measure it like you say, just as a flat plane. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, does it?
Mm-hmm.
But if you see this here, this is what you see, right? This top one, this is what you see, right? But this picture here, this one, okay, if you're looking side on, it looks like this is happening. It looks like the floor is rising to your eye line, right? So you imagine,
because everything
the boat's going along like this, and it's also getting smaller. But the illusion is to you, it's like that going up like this to this vanishing point, and then that's why we think the boats are disappearing over curvature. They're not though, because it's just this in reality. But what you see is this. Yeah?
Yes.
I hope that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, that's because that's the world we live in. That is reality. That's what we actually do have to deal with, and people working professionally with making stuff have to do that.
Well, here's a picture of the 3D model I showed you with the boat. Right, there's a picture. There you go. Look, the boats are just getting smaller as they disappear.
I love it.
And then eventually they'll disappear over the horizon line. They're not going. Look, this looks like it's sloping upwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not, is it? It's flat. That's why people are tricked into thinking boats are disappearing over the horizon. So a boat gets so small, and then it gets on the other side of the vanishing point. But really, it's still the same size as this boat. Yeah, it hasn't gone over a curve. And that's what people don't understand about the perspective, the vanishing point, the convergence point. And so if you look at pictures of planes with chemtrails, you'll see them. They're like flying into. It looks like they're flying into the horizon, yeah. But obviously they're not, are they? They're always at the same altitude. And that's the same. That's the same for the stars. Yeah, it's the same for the stars. People need to understand that you're not going to see stars that far away because you can't see that far away, and they're going down like that. Anyway, I just wanted to go through that.
That's never occurred to me. I mean,
yeah, it's happening with all of it.
I've never thought about the fact that I've thought you shouldn't be able to see them because they're such immense distance away. But of course, there's always the mathematical get out that they're, in some cases, when you see the line that the scientists parade out on a YouTube video with "here's Earth, absolutely tiny, but it looks big on your iPad," and then they step it up to "here's the sun" and make the Earth look tiny, and then here's Alpha Centauri and here's Betelgeuse, and then so on and so forth until you get up to something that's so immense that they go, well, yeah, because it's so vast and so big and burning so brightly because it's a big star and it's going to die soon.
Right, but in one of those videos I did, I can't remember which one it was now, I made the point that when you say to somebody, how do you know we live on a globe? And one of the things they will say, oh, well, a boat disappears over the horizon. Well, why is it this is the only video, pretty much the only video that was on anywhere that you can find that was supposedly proving this point? And this is easily debunked just with these two images. Right, so it's like we get told these things, yeah, and it's like it's a given, like it's just accepted. Well, that's how it is. People don't realise how easily fooled we are. Like we don't. When people say to me, "Where's the evidence?" It's like, well, that's the question we are asking. Where is the evidence? That's what we're asking. It's crazy.
Yeah, the onus of proof is on them. I mean, ultimately, if they're saying got to be proved.
Yeah, there's people will just come to me, you know what it's like. They'll say, well, "Where's your proof? Where's your evidence?" It's like that's what we're trying to find out. We've been told this is how easily fooled we are. I mean, it's a nonsense. This is why people, start talking about this stuff and making videos, because you can't believe how easily fooled you've been by literally just something being repeated to you over and over again. So this is just like with the, people say about the globe. It's in I guarantee, any program you watch on TV, be it a film, be it a documentary, be it a drama, be it whatever, there'll be a globe somewhere in there, sitting on a desk.
Yeah, the cartoons. I was watching South Park, and in every single South Park episode, it seems that they've got, when they're leaning out their window to talk to their friend, they've got a globe in the background, on their desk in a cartoon. So it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be about space. Yeah,
just before we got on the show, I was just catching up with. I don't watch TV, but I watch, like iPlayer and stuff. If there's anything worth watching, and I was just watching this. It's like a detective drama or something. There it was, a globe in one of the scenes.
Yeah, it's so obvious once it's pointed out to you. The trouble is that people will sink into the next line, the next bit of predictive programming, and just soak up whatever else. It's all well and good people finding out that we live on a flat plane. If they just go and look at the universal, oh man, how have I got fooled by this? And then sit down and watch The Simpsons and take in whatever next bit of programming or propaganda they're trying to program you with. Do you know what I mean?
But this is the whole thing. We have been programmed from birth with the globe and all this stuff, and why is it when we want to? This is another thing, right, that really gets to me. Why is it when we want to find out, say, the circumference of the Earth? It's like, oh yeah, some dude with sticks and shadows, he worked it out, 2,000 years ago, and he was within, 500 yards of being correct. It's 2015. Yeah. Why is that? Why has that never been replicated? That sticks and shadows, and also, how did he do it back then? Because he had what was it? There was like 1,000 miles between. Between the two sticks, yeah. So they didn't have mobile phones.
So how did he get it accurate? How did he know 1,000 miles? It's back to the maths thing.
But what I'm saying,
reference point. So he's got so accurate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he's there at one point saying, "Oh look, here's the shadow. There's no shadow," and then we're told that the other one 1,000 miles away had a shadow that was. So, but he would have had to have waited for that person to report back to him. And so what? So they got on a camel, or they paced it out back to him. And how many days did that take to get that message back to him that there was that shadow? Yeah, but there was such a distance. They didn't have. Nuts. How did they try? Do you know what I mean? Like, you could do it now. Like, me and you could do it. How far do you reckon there is between where we live? I don't know, 100 miles.
Maybe a bit more, 150 miles.
About 150. So theoretically, I'm just saying we could do that experiment, but we could be there on the phone and measure it there and then. How did they do it? I mean, it would have taken, like, how long would it have taken to travel between? Do you know what I mean? It's just nuts.
Yeah. But I mean, the bullshit reinforcement will continue as long as we allow it to. Do you know what I mean? As long as we don't fall, like I say, into the next trap, the next lie, and it's all well and good focusing on the fact that we know we're on a flat plane now. But the games will continue as long as we're watching TV and tuning into radio and tapping away on the internet, and even going outside and just being your subject constantly to advertising billboards and stuff on shelves. That's got all of this stuff programmed in. I mean, if we keep on the globe, it doesn't matter what product you buy. There's loads of it. Like that, my uncle sent me this presentation that he'd done, and I was looking through it going, what's with all these planets? Why does he use planets in it? I contacted him and said, what's with all the planets in your presentation? He's like, oh, Microsoft just slipped that in, it's automatic. I was like, what? So even when you're just doing a presentation, you've got globe reinforcement in your software, and you're not thinking about it. It's not media, but it's totally subliminal. It's the whole time. We're on a globe. We're on a globe. We're on a globe.
Yeah, I filmed that pub where I live. Well, I just spotted another globe today on the main road in town. So I'll have to. I couldn't believe it. It was up on a window, like the second story up of this old shop. So I'll have to film that. But one thing people say to me is, "Oh, how can you believe the Earth is flat? That's like the Dark Ages." Well, when we want to find out evidence of how it's a globe, they tell us to go back to Sticks and Shadows from the Dark Ages. I mean,
my dad did it today. He literally did exactly that.
do you want to go over Antarctica? Because I think Antarctica is the basically the gateway to flat Earth, and people just don't understand that no one's crossed it.
Definitely.
I've just got a couple
this
of articles.
back to flat Earth society, isn't it? I mean, the controlled opposition. I mean, when you look for flat Earth images on Google, it's all their stuff showing that we've got no, there's no edge, and with water dribbling off it, and it's a completely farce.
Yeah, there might not be an edge.
You still there?
We don't. Yeah. Can you not hear me?
Well, I'm not talking on top of the edge of the plateau or whatever you want to call it. I'm not talking about when you go out to the reaches of Antarctica, although I know you're just about to sort of go into that. I mean, I'm talking about the Flat Earth Society. If you go to the controlled opposition and have a look at what they've got to say and what they've got to show you, more importantly, what they'll show you is pictures of discs with dribbling water coming over it.
Right, yeah. It's always been ridiculed. That's why, if you've seen the...
it's nonsense saying it dribbles off.
Yeah. If you've seen the front page of my YouTube channel, have you seen the picture on there? That's why I put the... Oh, right. Well, I put a rabbit holding the globe. Right, with the... because they've got like the picture of the flat Earth sitting on top of turtles. Is it? So they're always.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So I just sort of thought, well, how is that any different if you just had a rabbit holding the globe?
Yeah. Of course, the rabbit would have its hair all messed up from it travelling 500,000 miles an hour around the galactic centre, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'll just go over the Antarctica just really quickly. No one's crossed it. Basically, I've just got a few articles up. One of these is what's his name, Ranulph Fiennes, and it just says he will lead a team that will attempt to become the first to travel on foot to the South Pole and back to their starting point. So not across it, just to the South Pole and then back. And then, but all they do also, hang on, where is it? You're seeing this picture here. They'll just come in at a point on the coast. They'll go to the South Pole, what they say is the South Pole, and then they'll come out on the coast. This isn't crossing it though. That's not actually crossing Antarctica. If I just do a quick picture, I'll just do a quickly crude picture of Antarctica. So that's not going to work now. Yes. So you've got sort of like. Right, so you've got that's
beautiful.
Yeah, nice. That's Antarctica. It's nearly. I should get a job with NASA, right? That's Antarctica round. So we would be inside here. And so what? Hello. I can't hear you, Nathan. Is it still going, Nathan? I can't hear you. Put my camera back on. Nathan. Hello. I can't hear you. I can't hear anything. You can hear me? Why is it when I start talking about Antarctica, everything's gone? I can't hear Nathan. I'll just carry on then. I'll just carry on. Where are we? Hello, Nathan. I can't hear you, mate. Okay, I'll carry on. Cheers, Matrix. So you've got, say this is the Ross Shelf, and you'll come in like that, and then they'll say, oh, you know, this is the South Pole, so you go to the South Pole there, and then you'll just come out again like that, somewhere, or you come back this way. But crossing Antarctica is like just going that way. That's crossing Antarctica, not just going around the coastline like that. And you can see, where are we? Okay, so this is another attempt by, what's his face? Ranulph Fiennes. I'll just read this bit of the paragraph. However, we have reached an unexpected crevice field which, from satellite images and our own local survey using ground penetrating radar, so not satellites, just radar, we believe could extend up to 100 kilometers to our south. The crevices are certainly bigger and deeper than any we had previously encountered. They could easily swallow our vehicles and are deceptively hard to spot in the darkness and the snow cover. Dark and difficult conditions. So basically they had to abandon it. And this is why nobody is crossing Antarctica. Okay, no, I don't believe when they say some guys with a sled, yeah, and some like this dude here crosses Antarctica by himself. There's no way, absolutely no way whatsoever. There's you've got 200 foot ice wall, okay, at the coast. Then you've got, it says it here. Where is it? 300 kilometers they went just to get to 3,000 meters up on the polar plateau. Then beyond that, you've got mountainous areas, like huge mountains. That nobody is crossing this place. Nobody's crossed Antarctica. And then you've got this ceremonial South Pole sphere where they take images, and then you've got this. It's just a ceremonial sign which they say is the South Pole. But look how nice and flat this area is. Okay, this isn't just the south. This isn't just crossing Antarctica. You've got things like this. That's all I wanted to say about Antarctica, really. Nobody's crossed it. Soon chance get Nathan? No? I, I don't know where he's gone. I've run out of things to talk about, to be honest. Yeah, anyway, the Antarctica is basically where it started and stopped. So they've got the Antarctic Treaty, and nobody's crossed it. Not like they say. So definitely everyone needs to concentrate on there. And I don't mind whether it's a, you know, the Dome, the Edge, or it's an infinite plane, whichever. We'll only find out by exploring Antarctica. I think it's videos to play. Nathan. Nathan, can you hear me? I can't hear you, mate. Do you want to leave it? We've been going 2 hours, 1 hour and a half. Yeah. See you later.